Welcome to Phil Welch Stadium. 4th of July themed, if you take a look at it right now. Tyler, it's a great day here in St. Joe as we are upon the 4th of July, which is tomorrow, but still Phil Welch all USA decked out. What are your thoughts on that?
Not just Phil Welch, Kai Turner, our owner. I see a lot of jerseys in the red, white, and blue from fans. It's a good day for Independence Day tomorrow, and I'm really liking the theme we got. USA wrote out on the foul lines, and just a red, white, and blue thing. I think it's really beautiful to see here the patriotism here at Phil Welch.
It sure is lovely. A bit of a late start to the broadcast. I do apologize. Leading off, Peyton Becker for the Chillicothe Mudcats. Becker on the year hitting .337, one of the better averages in this Mustangs lineup, the third best. Holcomb on the mound for the Mustangs today, and he has been very, very good so far this year, Tyler. What can you tell me about what we've seen so far this year from Roy Holcomb?
I like the way Holcomb's been pitching. He's been very around the zone, per se. Good strikeout numbers, has 20. And really finds ways to get guys out early. Doesn't work too long in games, and is supporting an ERA just over 1.
Yeah, one of the better ERAs on this team. Although the Mustangs ERAs are all very low. They're the best ERA in the entire Mink League.
By a long shot, too.
The 2-2 pitch to Becker. Fouled off.
Yeah, he's not the biggest strikeout guy, only averaging about 7 per 9 innings. At the same time, he finds ways to get outs, and he's walks per 9 is less than 2, and that's, I wouldn't say elite, but still very good in this league, and the reason why he's 4-1 in the year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the Mustangs record being 26-5, a lot of their pitchers are going to have, the 4 to 5 top in terms of win leaders in the Mink League are held by Mustangs. But that also just shows how dominant their starting pitching's been. Is that strike 3 there for Roy Holcomb? Right on that outside corner. Peyton Becker doesn't love it. We're going to take a quick look at the Mudcats lineup. Leading off, Peyton Becker, we just saw go down via the punch-out. Followed by him is Julio Guerrero. Hitting third is Drew Sanidad. In the 4 spot is Hunter Schulte. Followed by him is John Spoto. In the 6 hole, it's Jory Anderson. Justin Dameron in the 7 hole. Elian Guzman hitting 8th. Rafael Calcaño hitting 9th. And then starting, Jordan Marlowe. What can you tell me, maybe a player to really look out for, as that one's going to be grounded to third base. Mason Holton trying to make the play. Safe is Julio Guerrero as he digs out the infield single.
Well, before I could even tell you about him, Julio Guerrero, get this, batted .503 last season. I don't care what level of baseball you're at. That is really impressive. Like, you could be playing out of your league. Like, no one in the Mink League is hitting over 500, and he qualified as a hitter. He also had 7 home runs and 23 stolen bases. The other thing to worry about for the Mustangs is the running game. The last 2 games, the Mudcats stole 15 bases and 9 bases in the same game.
That's a lot of stolen bases.
They averaged 12 stolen bases the last couple of games. So, really, if Roy Holcomb's slow to the plate, they're the team to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you see Holcomb pick over right there. I'm sure he's well aware of how often this Mudcats team likes to run. Mind you, the Mudcats broke the Mink League record last year in terms of stolen bases. Just a crazy number. And they stole 171 bags to beat that record, which broke the Mustangs record, which was 165, which they set a couple years before.
That being said, the Mustangs are currently at 126 stolen bases on the year. There's a chance they top the Mudcats again this year. We'll take a look at that graphic at some point in the broadcast, but the Mudcats are sitting in third. They have 113, but it's weird. They'll have games where they steal like 1 to 2 bags, and they'll have games where they jump out and steal over 10. There he goes.
Of stealing bases. The stolen base is going to eliminate the double play, but Schmidt's going to go to 1, but he throws it away. Gets by Jackson Glick over there at first. And sliding in safely into second base is Drew Sanidad. So the two-base error on the Carson Schmidt throw. Now we have runners at second and third, with just one out here in the top of the first inning. Not the start I saw coming from Roy Holcomb, and how dominant he's been this year. It's a bit of a surprise.
Well, to be fair, he hasn't really given up hard contact. That play should have been made by Schmidt and Glick, although I did have the post in my way. It looked like he hesitated a bit on throw to second. And although the throw did beat him there, good slide by Sandid.
Two-0 to count to Hunter Schulte.
Hunter Schulte, I remember that name very well. The last time these teams met at Phil Welch, there was that walk-off, Logan Miller's fly ball to center field. And it all started when Jeter Mose hit a ground ball to second base, Hunter Schulte, and his feed to the shortstop got away, and Freeman went from first to home on a ground ball to second base. Eventually they tied the game from that, and then a walk-off sac fly from Logan Miller, and Trevor McCullum came in to score. It was an absolute blast, one of the craziest games we've called together for sure.
I would agree. One of the crazier games all year in this Mink League, without a doubt. 3-1's your count. Holcomb fell behind four-hitter Hunter Schulte. Schulte on the year hitting .234. That one's going to be skied out to that left center gap. It's going to be a tough play for Bruce, but he camps under it. Throw's going to go to third. But again, Schmidt having some trouble with his throws so far today. The sacrifice fly from Schulte brings in the run.
Carson Schmidt has got to thank Drew Sandid at third. That ball was thrown so far off target to Holton, and it actually hit the elbow of Sandid and kicked toward the catcher, Dom Felix. Really lucky on his part. If that doesn't catch a piece of the runner on third, that ball's headed toward the backstop and might be another run.
Holcomb now trying to only allow one run here in the top of the first inning. Stepping against John Spoto, hitting .229 on the year.
Another thing with Holcomb is last start, struggled at the beginning. Couldn't get out of the first inning, gave him a couple runs. And sometimes for pitchers who are starters, it takes a second for them to get acclimated. You get through all your warm-ups in the game, like before the game, you get to your warm-ups on the mound, and then you all of a sudden have to start facing batters, and sometimes you're a little too calm out there. You had too much of a pregame routine, kind of get into too much of a relaxed headspace, and next thing you know, you're down 1-0.
Fastball misses up, trying to get Spoto chasing. Spoto, a freshman out of Rock Valley College, playing left field tonight.
At Rock Valley, he typically played left, right field, kind of swap between the corner outfield spots.
Again, Holcomb missing up with the fastball.
When he showed Spoto's stats out there, it was pretty impressive. Similar to Mason Holton, he's batting only .229, but his on-base percentage up above .430. Shows the guy works counts and has a good eye.
Spoto skies one to Schmidt at short. He gets called off by Bruce, who makes the play. So one run scores on the air. But besides that, no other further damage is done. We'll hear all about the Mustangs starting lineup when we return. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. 80 degrees is the weather currently. Some showers in the forecast, potentially around 8 o'clock. Hopefully, we're able to avoid those here at Phil Welch. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Mustangs today. Leading off, Carson Schmidt. Noah Bodenhausen follows him. Darius Freeman in the 3-hole today. Dom Felix cleaning up the top 3. Mason Holt hitting 5th. Easton Bruce in the 6th spot. Jaden Little hitting 7. Jordan Black hitting 8. And Truman Bodenhausen hitting 9. Scratch, that's Jackson Glick hitting 8, not Jordan Black. But still, pretty good lineup the Mustangs have rolled out here today. And in steps Schmidt. And I find it interesting that Schmidt's in the lineup again today. He hasn't played the last couple home games, been playing on the road. It's good to see him back in the lineup at home. He's hitting almost 350, so well-deserved.
Yeah, I wonder if there was maybe an injury going on, because the way he's been playing, he deserves a spot in this lineup. I get we're trying to rotate guys around, but there are definitely players in this lineup that are much more staples, guys that tend to play more, and if they do rotate guys out, keep their spot. Darius Freeman comes to mind. Schrack. It's funny, Schrack and Mose are both out today, but those are typically the guys you'll see in a Mustangs lineup. Schmidt, not as much.
Schmidt fouls off the fastball. Schmidt heading to Maple Woods Community College. He just finished up his senior year at Benton High School, where he was coached by Mustangs head coach Johnny Coy.
Yeah, I remember Schmidt. He always loves to lay down bunts, and that third baseman's back now. 2 strikes, but definitely something to look forward to the rest of the game. Also, you notice the red, white, and blue bags?
Yeah, that is something that I've missed. You guys can only see second base right now showing a white bag. We'll try and get a shot of the corner bags there in a second, where it's both blue at third base and red at first base. The 2-2 count to Carson Schmidt. Is poked out there to second base. It's going to be cut off by the first baseman, and there's no play. Elian Guzman came all the way, took the ball away from Peyton Becker, and Schmidt just dug it out, showcasing some speed.
No, he definitely showed his speed, and Jordan Marlowe, the pitcher, a lefty, falls off a little bit to his glove side, and that was enough of a difference. Also, Turf Monster kind of got him on that run down to first, but it's not pretty, but there's no pictures in the box score.
You think that ball should have been left for Becker? He was in the area, or do you agree with Guzman's decision? There was just no play from either of the two.
Well, by the time Guzman committed to getting that ball, there was no one to cover first anyway, so either Becker's got to call him off early, or he's got to take his chances and hope his pitcher gets over there.
Bodenhausen stepping in now. He's traditionally a leadoff hitter in this Mustangs lineup. Slid down to the 2 spot today. Seems to have worked out as Schmidt reached base safely to start the game. Fastball misses up.
I'm waiting to see some power from Noah Bodenhausen. He had a double last time he was at Phil Welch, but I know he's got more juice. He only has 2 extra base hits on the year, as well as his brother. Both have 2 extra base hits. I want to see more of that from them.
That one shot out to right field. It's going to be down for a single. So back-to-back leadoff singles to the right side for the Mustangs. They have 2 runners on with nobody out.
Now steps in Darius Freeman, and he's versatile, not only in the outfield, but in the lineup. We've seen him hit 1, 2, 3, even 5. A guy who is a dual threat, fastest guy on the Mustangs team, leads the team in stolen bases, and also has 2 home runs.
Yeah, Freeman probably so far the most successful Mustang we've seen this year. The numbers he's produced have been very, very positive. You know, he's a run producer in this lineup. He can hit for some serious power, has a couple home runs this year, but also has that speed. You know, one of those guys you look at as a 5-tool player.
Also has the ability to make contact, put bat on ball, doesn't strike out too much. Only struck out 9 times in his 90 at-bats, so 10% K rate. Very good.
That one's going to be fouled off behind the dugout. Haven't told you much about Jordan Marlowe today. He pitched the last game these two teams played where the walk-off happened. We talked about that earlier. He started the game, only threw 4 innings, gave up 2 runs, 2 strikeouts in his last start here at Phil Welch. Have you seen anything so far out of Marlowe tonight?
Nothing crazy. I'm curious to see how he attacks lefties. There are a couple lefties in this Mustangs lineup tonight. Jackson Glick also in there. And I want to see how well he can use his fastball. He's got a little bit of run to it. He's gone away twice to Darius Freeman here. If he can establish that fastball on the inside part of the plate, he'll be really successful against those southpaws.
The 0-2 pitch to Darius Freeman is bounced, blocked nicely by Dameron behind the dish.
The other thing I want to see from him is he's pretty slow to the plate right now. When there's guys on, we mentioned the Mudcats steal a lot of bases, but the Mustangs are in first in the Mink League.
Yeah, they steal even more.
So you have guys that are slow to the plate. These college baseball players will take advantage of that all the time.
Jump, turn, pickoff move to second base. Schmidt able to get back. There's so many different moves when you pick off to second base. It can be kind of, almost confusing, I feel like, to a new pitcher when you try and introduce all these moves.
And these guys have been playing for a while now, but it's hard to get that chemistry.
Freeman swings over a changeup. Really well located pitch there from Jordan Marlowe.
Yeah, that had some serious breakthrough. I think that was probably maybe a sweeper there. And that pitch will be devastating lefty-lefty. It's going to be a challenge to see if he throws that to righty just because it breaks so much into them and they can see it earlier. But as a pitcher, if you can throw strikes with a couple pitches, it's going to help you out a ton. There's that same pitch again.
In steps the Mink League leader in home runs, Dom Felix. He's got 3 of them so far this year. A chance to get that average up just over 300 right now.
And you know who the other guy tied with Dom Felix is?
The other catcher on the Mustangs, Kyle Hepburn.
Yeah, the last time we were at home, we saw Kyle Hepburn go yard, left field. Tied him for the lead. Darius Freeman has 2. And a bunch of other guys in the Mink League with 2. But Darius Freeman, Kyle Hepburn, atop.
1-1 pitch. Both runners take off, and it's going to be a fly ball out to center field. Both Schmidt and Bodenhausen are going to have to head back as Sandy Dad camps under that one.
Felix not only frustrated with the pop-up, but he probably saw the jump that Carson Schmidt got. He could have crawled to third by the time that pitch got to the plate. Really read Jordan Marlowe. And that's a tough one as a batter because you like the pitch. Looked like it was middle in and could do some damage. But at the same time now, instead of maybe being 1-2 with guys at second and third, you're walking back to the dugout, and you need your other guys to pick you up.
So now Mason Holton in a must-produce spot here for the Mustangs as they look to tie this game up here in the bottom of the first inning.
We'll see if they attempt the double steal. It's not ideal to attempt a double steal with 2 outs just because you don't want to make the last out at third base. But at the same time, if Marlowe's going to be this slow to the plate, Mustangs, a very aggressive team.
Holton, a junior, just finished up at Western Carolina University. Originally went to Coffeyville Community College at JUCO, where he played with former other Mustang, Carson Schrack. He's not in the lineup tonight. But 2 very successful players out of Coffeyville. Holton now at Western Carolina as he shoots that one foul. 1-2's your count. 2 on, 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. A big opportunity early on in this one.
Marlowe doesn't throw particularly hard for a lefty, probably humming it up there in the mid-high 80s. But he's getting on these hitters, both left-handed and right-handed guys. Potentially, 1, he's tall, has a big stride length, but 2, hides the ball pretty well. Tough for the guys to pick it up early.
Again, both runners go and no throw. So Schmidt and Bodenhausen move up 90 feet as Schmidt slides into the blue USA baseball bag.
I've never seen that before, the different colored bags, but I like it. I think it's really, really cool, patriotic. You think MLB teams should maybe throw their team colors in the bags?
I think really it kind of spices up the game, so it's kind of interesting as the 2-2 pitch to Holton's fouled off. Although at some point, when does it become like too much colors out there on the baseball field, more of a distraction?
Well, I don't know. Do you think this is a distraction? I think it's
I
such
don't
a small
think so.
part of the game.
I like the USA theme. Maybe bring it out every once in a while.
Yeah, no, definitely not a permanent thing, but maybe once a week. We always have like the what's it called? The City Connect uniforms. Can we throw out the color of the bags on City Connect Day?
Two misses up. Full count now to Mason Holton.
Holton's seen a lot of pitches this at bat. He loves the inside pitch, steps out just a tad. If Marlowe misses on the inside part of the plate, expect ball on the screws for Mason Holton.
Easton Bruce waits on deck. The 3-2 pitch to Holton. Swung on, hit well to center field, but right at Drew Sanidad out there. So the Mustangs get their first 2 hitters on to start the inning, but cannot score them as they squander the opportunity. The Mudcats lead at 1-0 as we head to inning number 2. Top of the second inning as we welcome you back. I'm Charlie Marshall, joined alongside Tyler Bermundo for some Mink League action here on Wednesday, July 3rd. Take a look at the Mustangs defensive lineup before we start this inning. You got Easton Bruce out there in left field, Darius Freeman in center, no Bodenhausen in right, Glick at first, Truman Bodenhausen at second, Mason Holton at third base, and then Carson Schmidt at short. Don Felix behind the plate, Jaden Little DHing today, and Roy Holcomb on the mound. That one hit first pitch swinging is Jory Anderson. He's a new add to this Mudcats team as they lost one of their best players, Tanner Sears. Sears on the year, he had been having a great year for this Mudcats team, was producing at a very, very high rate. He led the team in at-bats, doubles, and RBIs, but now he's done for the year, so he will no longer be playing for the Mudcats.
Yeah, him and Carlos Negron both not in the lineup. Sears headed off to the Northwoods League, but he hit 15 home runs at Central Methodist University, and Carlos Negron hit 19. Those were the 3 and 4 guys last time we played. And the Mudcats will probably feel without their prowess tonight. Those are 2 huge RBI men you're missing.
Yeah, those are both the 2 probably best hitters in these lineups that are not there tonight. And Sears won't be here the rest of the year. That one hit well, but foul.
So Jory Anderson, who you could say is replacing Sears tonight. He hit .302 his freshman year and had 3 home runs and 162 at-bats. So I wouldn't say he has the absolute offensive onslaught as Tanner Sears does, but a respectable guy nonetheless.
Down goes Justin Dameron. Roy Holcomb picks up his second strikeout of the game in just the second inning. Stepping in now, Elian Guzman. The taco hitter tonight. He's out of Bloomfield College. He was a starter there in 2023. Hit 267 with 7 home runs. That one hit just over the glove of Carson Schmidt out there at shortstop. The leaping attempt just wasn't enough. Guzman's on with a 2-out single.
Carson Schmidt has some good ups, too, at 6'2". But if he can't get that, not many players can.
And now it's Rafael Calcaño stepping in. Calcaño, the average just continues to plummet every time we see him. Although a lockdown defender, to say the least. Tonight playing shortstop for this Mudcats team. Tyler, we've seen him play center field both times he's came to Phil Welch this year, but tonight at shortstop, and he's looked really good out there in center field. So it's surprising that they've switched up, as that's going to be some serious trouble. It's a fair ball down the line. Easton Bruce gathers it quickly, throw right to Holden at third. Sliding in safely is Guzman, excuse me. That's a 2-out double for Calcaño. I almost thought Holden could have got the tag down.
I'm kind of with you there. He didn't even make an attempt. I get the ball was had to be picked out of the ground, but if he's able to sit back a tad on that and catch that ball on the guy sliding to third, he might have a chance at an out right there.
I really thought Bruce almost picked up his second outfield assist of the year. Instead, second and third now, 2 outs. Holcomb finding himself in some trouble yet again.
Yeah, Holcomb started out the year almost unhittable. First 15 innings, he threw shutout baseball.
Peyton Becker on the year leads the team in batting average, or excuse me, leads the team in hits with 30 hits, batting .337. His first at-bat tonight was a strikeout looking on a fastball over the outer half, sent him back to the dugout.
Mentioned Calcaño out at second. His brother, Jose, is on the Clarinda A's, where they also have a set of brothers, and Kai and Lath Holiday. Kind of interesting, though, to see 2 brothers on different teams here in the Mink League.
Yeah, there's, definitely a couple sets of brothers. As that one's head out to right field. That's Bodenhausen in right, camped under. It makes the grab. So the Mudcats threaten to extend their lead in the top of the second inning, but Holcomb doing a nice job not letting that happen. They still lead at 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the second inning.
This free broadcast of tonight's game is brought to you by Caleb Wells and HLC Insurance, located here in St. Joseph. HLC Insurance specializes in helping individuals, families, seniors, and small businesses with all things health coverage, including dental vision, prescription drug coverage, and life insurance. To schedule a free consultation, call 816-273-4216 or visit hlcinsurance.com today. That is 816-273-4216. Visit hlcinsurance.com today.
Gonna look at Peter Pan head off the field here at Phil Welch Stadium. If you have to come out, it's not too late. Peter Pan makes an appearance every night here at Phil Welch.
That wasn't in the movies.
It's a new addition. Easton Bruce stepping in now. He just returns to this Mustangs lineup from a back injury as he skies out to center field. That's Sandy that out there camped under it, making the easy grab. So just 2 pitches for Easton Bruce in his first at-bat of the game.
So when I was thinking, when you said Sandy was camped under, I looked up, I thought it was going to be Calcano. And it's just weird seeing him at shortstop, especially with how great he's been out there. He made 2 tremendous diving plays in that walk-off win against the Mustangs. But when you're an athlete, you can play anywhere on the field, and a guy who's that good of a center fielder, probably a good infielder as well.
Yeah, it's no surprise that when they moved him to the infield, it was to shortstop and not anywhere else, as that's typically your most athletic infielder. DHing tonight is Jaden Little in 246. The average not extremely high, but the concern for me would be the slugging. I mean, slugging that low, especially for a guy like Little, who is, he definitely showcases some power. You'd like to see him hit a couple extra base hits. That's not going to happen there, as Marlowe sends him back to the dugout on just 3 pitches.
Yeah, Jaden Little at State Fair had 7 home runs and an insane 1,061 OPS. That is elite. Interesting guys in the Mink League. One difference between Mink League, or really summer ball in general in college, is the use of wood bats, but I don't see stats dipping that much.
Yeah, going from wood bats to metal bats is always something that's talked about. I feel like we've talked about it a good amount on here, but to me the biggest difference is just the more you hit with a wood bat, it's just harder on your hands more than anything, especially if you don't hit the ball right. You feel it more. You get more stingers. Obviously, you break bats. But I don't feel like it changes too much about hitting to where, your stat should go from something where you're hitting 7 home runs to a slugging under 270.
Well, I don't know about that drastic change, but the big thing is the pain. And when you go up there,
well, finish that when we come back. Marlowe carving through this Mustangs lineup through 2 innings. And that's why the the Mudcats lead it 1-0. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. At the bottom of your screen, you're getting just a look at the YMCA that happens in between the second and third inning. Leading off in the third inning for the Mudcats is Julio Guerrero. He singled the second in singled the third in his first at bat.
he is from Venezuela, one of the many international guys on this Chillicothe Mudcats team.
Yeah, this Mudcats team, like a lot of the Mink League, but especially this team, features a lot of international players. Something I wasn't extremely prepared for when I agreed to take this job as the Mustangs announcer, but it's kind of surprising, to see all the guys from, we have some Australias. This one's going to be potentially another infield single to third. And it is just no play for Holden. Came in, made a nice barehanded grab, but Guzman just too fast. Or, excuse me, Guerrero just too fast.
Outside of the double hit by Rafael Calcano, Roy Holcomb has not given up hard contact and hasn't really allowed free passes either. Kind of the same start as we had a guy, who was the pitcher that had unbelievably bad luck a couple outings ago?
I do remember that.
Camden Lutz.
It was Lutz.
Like, it's not, and even Lutz, he walked a couple guys. Roy Holcomb here, just bad batted ball and play luck. Simple as that.
Holcomb getting ahead of Drew Sanidad right here with the 0-0 fastball.
See if Guerrero's on the move here. Small lead, though.
He's not perhaps trying to time up Holcomb.
This is a perfect running count.
Holcomb picks over. He's probably aware of that as well. Why do you guys like to go and count like 1-1? What makes this count better than other hitters' counts to run on?
Well, in 1-1, the pitcher trying to induce a swing. And if you get a good jump here on the 1-1, it's typically not a count for a pitch out. And pitchers are now more focused on the batter at the plate. In an 0-0 count, there's usually potential for a pitch out or a slide step. But once you're 1-1, you're kind of engaged with the batter.
There goes Guzman. It's going to be a single out to right field from Sanidad. So first to third, a beautifully executed hit and run. And now the Mudcats are threatening yet again.
Really, that was not the best pitch by Roy Holcomb. Wanted a fastball up in the zone, either as a chase pitch or a setup pitch, and left it at the letters. It probably wasn't a strike, but Drew Sandin in protect mode did a good job of getting that ball. So good hitting and not great pitching there.
Stepping in now is Hunter Chillicothe. The right-hander hitting .234 on the year out of Moberly Area Community College. Didn't play a ton as a freshman, but stole 9 bases, hit about .235. Very similar to what he's doing right now in the Mink League. There's some hitters that no matter where they go, they're the exact same hitter. I remember Chris Davis, the Oakland A's. Remember him?
What is it, batted 249 every year?
249, 247, something like that, for like 6 years in a row. And that's just crazy. That's what Schultz is doing right now. His exact same batting average right now as he did in his freshman year at Moberly Area.
And that's even with the wood bats. But the one thing I was saying before we got cut off at the break is when you're up there with a wood bat, you are going to feel a lot of those balls on the hands and off the end. And while there is a drop-off and pop when you hit it there, the big thing is you're going up there knowing there's a chance you get hurt. I swing a Louisville Select Power, and that bat is like a paddle. No matter where I hit it, it can catch me on the hands. I'm not going to feel it.
There's going to be a fly ball to center field from Chillicothe. It should be good enough to get the run in, and it is. Guzman lightly jogs in and taps home plate. So 2-0 here for the Mudcats in the top of the third inning. Holcomb in some unfamiliar territory as his team trails early on.
Yes, when you're going up there with a thought knowing you might get hurt, there's a bit of tentativeness there. And you're not going to hit with as much confidence as you would knowing you're not going to feel any pain.
John Spoto looking to keep this rally going for the Mudcats. For what it's worth, Chillicothe just recorded his second RBI tonight, so he has both RBIs for the Mudcats tonight, both sac flies, both to center field.
And he scored Julio Guerrero twice, who reached twice on infield singles.
Yeah, very, very similar starts to these games.
Big thing I see from Holcomb, because he doesn't have a walk yet, correct?
He
has
not.
one. No?
No walks.
No walks. with Holcomb is he is throwing strikes, but it's only with his fastball. Not really able to mix up his pitches in the zone. Sometimes that's all a team needs in order to time you up. Holcomb has a good fastball, but the minute the breaking ball is not a threat, allows guys to kind of relax up there and wait on the heater.
And most teams in this Mink League, you're going to need at least 2-3 pitches in order to, get through the lineups. As the strikeout on the fastball for Holcomb, he sends Spoto walking back to the dugout.
Yeah, Holcomb there even gets him on a fastball. 0-2 count fastball.
But Holcomb's best start, or one of his better starts in the year, was his first start opening day here at Phil Welch against the Baldwin City Blues. And that team just wasn't as talented as these other teams we've seen in the Mink League. So he was able to dominate with his fastball. Since then, he's had to go to other pitches. And tonight, he's really just going with the fastball for the most part. And that's why he's given up, a couple hits, 2 runs. But still, overall, it looks pretty solid on the mound out there. A lot of weak contact. An error in the first inning led to one of those runs.
Yeah, no, definitely things haven't gone his way, but at the same time, having another secondary pitch, what was going on over there?
Looks like Felix just waiting around too long. I'm not sure what Dominic Felix was doing behind the plate there. And it's going to allow for Jory Anderson to move up 90 feet. He was caught in no man's land, picked off. Or excuse me, that's Sandy Dad at first. What?
Sanadid just got way too far out on the secondary. Was really caught in no man's land between first and second base. And he did the smart thing and just took off for second base. Dom Felix probably tried to wait and see where he was going to go. If he was going to go back to first or head to second. By the time he hesitated, it had to be a perfect throw from Felix, and it wasn't.
Yeah, Felix just kind of waited around too long. In those situations, as a catcher, you want to get the ball out. Once he decides where he's going, or even beforehand, that one's going to be fouled out of play. Worst case scenario in that situation, Sandy Dad should end up back at first base if you're the Mustangs.
Yeah, 100%. You go straight to second base, no hesitation, and then if he gets back to first, it's whatever. The pitch doesn't really count. But you want to at least have the tag play at first. You don't want to have it at second. If you do, it should be a for sure out.
Anderson in his last at-bat, flied out to left field. The 2-2 from Holcomb misses down, so we're going to do it again, but full.
Now, if you don't trust anything else but the fastball right now, you got to go up and in with this one. See if we can get it above his bat and on his hands. Worst comes to worst, it's a little broken bat shot to the right side.
It's going to be a fastball fouled down the line.
Coach is not happy
Tyler
about
Hudlow
that.
cannot believe it.
I think the coach has a case for that, just because he had the best view of that by far. And from here, it looked like it was pretty close.
From here, I thought I saw it on the chalk. I'm not going to lie. It was close.
That could turn out to be a big swing here, Phil Welch.
Hey, really good. It's going to keep it 2-0. It's going to keep it full. And it's going to keep Roy Holcomb locked in on Jory Anderson right now. Holcomb, a second life. It's going to be a ground ball to Schmidt at short. He's going to have to get rid of it quick. Strong toss from Schmidt does the job. So Holcomb uses the second life wisely as he escapes, just giving up 1 run here in the top of the third. Mustangs trail it 2 now as we head to the bottom of the third inning. Truman Bodenhausen lead things off for the Mustangs as they trail it 2-0 now in the bottom of the third inning.
One thing I just noticed in this Mustangs lineup, this is the first time, at least at home, where Truman and Noah are in the lineup not hitting back-to-back.
Yeah, I was going to mention that as well. Noah Bodenhausen, typically, a leadoff hitter. We already talked about it once today. But the fact that he's hitting the 2-hole now makes it a little switcheroo. Truman's brother not hitting directly behind him.
I just kind of liked it. Two guys, both pretty fast. And, well, Carson Schmidt kind of breaks up the little party they got going on. He is pretty fast in his own right. And I think it's more of just for the fun of it to have the Bodenhausen bros back-to-back. But I don't mind the move made by Johnny Coy.
Yeah, I like Schmidt in the leadoff spot. Very fast. Is that one from Bodenhausen's going to be hit to shortstop. Strong toss in time from Calcaño. It's the first time we've seen him get some action at short.
I'll tell you what, he looks just as good at short as he does in center field. Just made that play look really easy. Strong arm. That'll turn the lineup over for Carson Schmidt, who we just mentioned doesn't play that much, but is supporting an average over 340. And we also mentioned how he loves to bunt as he squares that one off to the left and barreled it, but it's foul. That's
Schmidt bunts a lot, like you mentioned. And at first we talked about maybe because of the chemistry him and head coach Johnny Coy have coming off an entire high school season together. But the more I see him do it, it's almost just the more I think Schmidt is confident in his bunting ability, and the more I think Schmidt, he thinks that's one of his better chances to reach base.
When you're fast like that, why would you take the chance of swinging if you know you have a really good chance of getting on when you bunt to first or bunt it to the third baseman? It's not like he's a plus power guy, Carson Schmidt. So if there's ways to get on, take it. And even guys like Shohei Ohtani, one of the best power hitters in the league, when he has that base open on the shift, he tends to lay one down too. So if you can find ways on that are almost guaranteed, why not?
That one going to be an infield flyout called by Chillicothe, makes the play. Baseball is a very hard game, so even the best players in the entire world, when you have those opportunities, you might as well take them.
Yeah, and even though we mentioned guys not having the bunting ability we used to have, if you took someone's percentage of getting a hit versus getting a successful bunt down, the bunt's going to be a lot higher.
That one from Bodenhausen's going to be hit. Calcaño's going to be a tough play. Can't make it. So 2 singles for Noah Bodenhausen hitting in the 2-hole tonight.
Noah Bodenhausen starting to heat up a bit. He's had the last 2 home games, and this is only the 3rd inning, but it's had 5 hits in his last 2 home ball games. Now with Freeman, I'm curious. He was late on everything in his last at-bat and then got put away with a nasty little slider. I'm looking for him to be really aggressive here.
First pitch swinging. And it was the fastball, and he fouled it straight back. Wasn't too late on that one. Maybe looking for the fastball.
Yeah, probably wants to make an adjustment. And typically if you foul a ball straight back like that, you're just a tad late. There's a good breaking ball. But when you foul a ball straight back, you're typically not on time. You're a tad late just because everyone has a slight uppercut swing. And if you're a little late, your barrel's not going to get up to the ball in time, so you hit it backward. On the flip side, if you top one, you're typically early on it.
Freeman down 0-2. Fouls that one back. Doing just enough to stay alive.
I now would expect a breaking ball. He went fastball, breaking ball, fastball, breaking ball. That one started up and away, and he's going to try to strike out Freeman on the same pitch he struck him out on back in the first.
He's set it up perfectly, hasn't he?
Or he goes to a fastball down and away and tries to get Freeman on something that he...
The 0-2 went with the fastball up. So now that curveball sweeper really set up right here for Marlowe.
As I was trying to say, I just couldn't get it out, was if he throws a fastball down and away, Freeman might think it's that slider sweeper he struck out on in the first inning, and he might be looking, see if he's cautious of that.
Bonehausen runs 0-2, and again, it's the sweeper, and Freeman again goes down swinging. So 2 strikeouts for Darius Freeman on the night. As we head to the top of the 4th inning, Mustangs still scoreless. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. I'm Charlie Marshall, joined alongside my partner Tyler Bermundo. Tonight, the Mustangs bit off to a slow start. Down 0-2 to the Mudcats, who, if we take a quick look at the standings, are near the bottom. So the Mudcats, you got a talented team. You know, they're fighting for a playoff spot. And the Mustangs, this is just the team they need to be taking care of business with, especially when you have one of your best pitchers on the mound in Roy Holcomb.
There's that, and also the team that's right behind you, the Clarinda A's, 1, just beat you, and 2, they have been the hottest team in the Mink League, no question. So all of a sudden, you got to start rattling off some wins because the Clarinda A's have 3 matchups against the Mustangs the rest of the season, and you don't want them to control your destiny.
It's a good way to look at it. And the A's just right behind them. They've won 13 of their last 14 games.
Yeah, it sounds like the Mustangs, who went on big streaks, but now have been kind of playing 500 ball the last week or so.
Yeah, and this A's team that's in second place, that one's going to be grounded off the hand of Holcomb. Going to be a tough play for Schmidt, and he really didn't have a play at all. But last night, the Mustangs lost to the Clarinda A's for the second time in just 5 days. So, you know, the Mustangs team really needs to figure it out versus the A's, and they've kind of slowed down against everyone. To start the year, we talked about how they kind of just looked better than everyone else, and they were just playing with their food. Now, it just appears that, you know, they've come back down to earth as everyone expected they would. This one's going to be hit hard right to Holton. That's short. Going to be a double play. Or the throw pulls off Glick, and he's not able to get the tag down. So Guzman digs out the double play. And he's going to be at first base with 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning.
Well, the quickest thing to look to is the lack of offense from the Mustangs. Is back when the season started, they beat the Clarinda A's 7-3, 17-1, and proceeded to put up at least 7 runs their next 4 games. In the most recent games, they've put up 4 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs, 3 runs, 5 runs. I mean, their pitching staff can only do so much. They have the best pitching staff in the Mink League, but when you're losing games 5-2, you'd hope for your offense to pick you up a bit.
And I agree with that. You know, the offense, definitely the reason this Mustangs team has slowed down is pitching-wise, they're still one of the best teams in the entire league. Take a look at where they stand compared to everyone else. They have a 2.89 ERA. the second best team is the Renegades, as Holcomb sends Calcaño back to the dugout. Maybe some revenge for the double earlier in the game. But in Holcomb, one of the best, pitchers on this team. He has the 4th best ERA on the best pitching staff in the entire Mink League.
And that's a 3-headed monster right there. You got Aaron Harrington, Roy Holcomb, and Denton Biller as your starters. You have Trent Roller, who also pitched really well in his only start. But those are 4 pitchers that should be able to work you 5-6 innings every game. Guys who are going to be 1 and 2s on their college team, but have still you need offense no matter what.
Yeah, because even on days like today where Holcomb's not necessarily pitching poorly, as hit and run, again, just unfortunate timing right now for the Mustangs. Everything's going the Mudcats' way. As that's Peyton Becker who reaches safely on the single to left field. And if if Guzman doesn't steal right there, that's an inning, ground out.
Easily. And we talk about the hit and run. You're trying to hit the ball on the ground. That's typically with 1 out or less. When you have 2 outs, it was probably more of a run and hit. Guy steals. He liked the pitch he got, and luckily hit it right where Carson Schmidt wasn't.
So now it's Guerrero, who has 2 singles, both the third base today. Mason Holton hasn't really had a play on either of them.
The other thing Holcomb is doing as opposed to Marlowe is he's throwing a lot more high-stress pitches. Even though he's only given up 2 runs, there's been a lot of traffic on the base paths.
That one's hit well out to right field. Bodenhausen runs back to the wall and gone. It's going to be a 3-run shot for Julio Guerrero as that opens things up a bit here at Phil Welch, 5-0.
Wow, I know it's a short porch out there. I didn't know if that was going to have the juice to get out. He put good wood on it, fastball away and went with it. But Bodenhausen, I thought, was going to have some room out there.
Yeah, no play for Bodenhausen in right field as Guerrero got just enough of that one going opposite field.
Yeah, if it's 307 down there, he hit that ball 307.5 feet. One thing to mention, and we talk about scoring and stuff, but it feels like the Mustangs aren't playing with the swagger they used to have. Everyone's been kind of dead, really, over the last couple weeks. They were on a win streak, and then once that was ended by the Chillicothe Mudcats, I see less energy from these guys going in, going out of the dugout in BP. It's just not that same confident Mustangs team.
Yeah, and that's just kind of comes with, it's the middle of summer right now. So it's, some call this, the dog days of summer, whatever you want to call it. It gets exhausting. I mean, this is only a 45-game season. Major League's 162. But when you're 25 days, of the last 27 days you played 25 games, you're tired. And it becomes repetitive and just exhausting, like I mentioned. And so that's right with these Mustangs in the middle. When you get towards the end of the season, you start to get the playoffs, and that kind of reinvigorates these games as Holcomb puts on Drew Sanidad with 2 outs. But they're just kind of in the middle where they're too far to look forward to the playoffs, but they don't have the win streak, start of the year attitude that we once saw.
What you could also say is, they're playing a lot of games, but pitchers aren't pitching more often than they normally would. So they're used to it. But the batters who are now playing games 4 or 5-6 games a week, and typically guys who are consistent starters are playing at least 5 games a week, that's a little bit more than your college schedule. You only usually play 3 to 4 games a week. And those extra 9 innings really take a toll on you, especially for guys like Dom Felix behind the plate and guys that have just consistently been in the lineup.
So out comes Mark Stevenson, the Mustangs pitching coach, says Roy Holcomb's really lost it out here on the mound right now. A 4-pitch walk to Sanidad, and now a pitch behind the head of Hunter Schulte. There is some action out there in right field, and now Mustangs bullpen.
I want to see Roy Holcomb finish this inning out at least. get some confidence back because you don't want this to roll over into your next start. And we mentioned Holcomb started the year dominant, and then he had one outing that wasn't the Roy Holcomb we knew, and since then has just looked shakier. That's Andrew Clark warming out there, who started a game recently, didn't do great, is going to hopefully work back out in the bullpen.
So Holcomb, after the conversation with Coach Stevenson, looking to get back into the zone. Just needs one out here in the 4th inning. Obviously not his night tonight.
I wonder if that just frustrated him. And that was enough for him to lay a fastball in the upper part of the plate for Julio Guerrero.
Well, fastballs up tend to be Holcomb's thing. You know, we've seen it all year. He likes to dominate with the fastball up. He got some good backspin on that fastball. He gets a lot of flyouts, a lot of hitters to swing under it. But when your other pitches just aren't working tonight, the fastball up becomes much more predictable and much more hittable to these Mudcats hitters. Sanidad takes off. Dom Felix trying to help out his pitcher. Can't do it. It's going to be a stolen base for Drew Sanidad.
That's a good way to think about it, though. You got a guy that throws, like Holcomb throws about 90. You got a guy who throws 90, but you know what's coming is a heck of a lot easier to hit than a guy who has a good slider in his back pocket and only throws 85 because you don't know what you're going to get.
It's going to be a ground ball to Holton at third. Weird bounce, but no problem for Mason Holton. So Holcomb able to bounce back a little bit, gets the last out of this 4th inning, but not before Julio Guerrero and the Mudcats can do some serious damage. 5-0 is their score as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning.
This free broadcast of tonight's game is brought to you by Caleb Wells and HLC Insurance, located here in St. Joseph. HLC Insurance specializes in helping individuals, families, seniors, and small businesses with all things health coverage, including dental vision, prescription drug coverage, and life insurance. To visual a free consultation call 816-273-4216 or visit hlcinsurance.com today. That's 816-273-4216 or visit hlcinsurance.com today.
Welcome back to St. Joe, Missouri here at Phil Welch Stadium. Tyler Ramundo, Charlie Marshall on the call. Leading things off is Dom Felix, him and his pink bat, trying to get something going for this dormant Mustangs offense.
We mentioned the Mustangs and Dom Felix. He has 3 home runs. All of them
got a lot of that one out to left field, but it's going to be a double off the base of the wall for Dominic Felix. Jory Anderson, the reason I didn't have a huge reaction was definitely a catchable ball. He just turned himself around out there in left field. He's doing 360s and all sorts of tricks out there in left.
Yeah, looking like a Savannah Bananas player out there in left, but realistically, that was a terrible route by Jory. He undercut the ball and had to work his way straight back instead of taking a deeper route and catching that on like a post route in football. And because of that, he either had to flip his head or turn his body. It really didn't look great.
Mason Holton now up with Dominic Felix at second base. Felix, known for some power, already has 3 home runs there, an extra base hit. His slugging percentage continues to climb. Holton got way under that one. Probably would have been hit out of an elevator shaft. Instead, it's the first out as he brings his bat all the way to first base with him.
That's a frustrating one, knowing you.
When you're down 5-0 like this, again, you can't try and get it all back with one swing. Holton might have got a little ahead of himself, tried to get us 2 runs. You know, kind of caused him to pop one straight up. In steps Easton Bruce. Easton Bruce from Kearney, Missouri, or excuse me, Kearney, Nebraska. He went to Washburn University. He had a pretty solid year at Washburn. In his junior year at Washburn, had 77 at-bats, batted .314. So far, off to a slow start, but again, he is still working his way back from an injury. Takes off the plate for ball 1. That one was close. 1-2's the count now. Again, a big spot for this Mustangs lineup. Bruce needs to get on any way he can. Try and just get a couple runs here. You don't need 5. You're only in the 4th inning. Just focus on getting Dominic Felix in. That's the same pitch, same call. 2-2.
This umpire known for ringing guys up on questionable calls, but pitches that look to be in the zone. Not pulling the trigger tonight.
The 2-2. Bruce fouls it. Hit hard, but well foul. So he's late on the fastball. We've seen that a lot tonight from these Mustangs hitters. Marlowe so far has 4 strikeouts on the evening. That one's going to go to the backstop, so Dom Felix advances 90 feet, and that's big because Dom Felix, not a guy who's guaranteed to score on a base hit. Now at third, you don't even need a base hit here if you're Bruce. Put the ball in play and give Dominic Felix and the Mustangs team a chance to get their first run. A lot of the times you see teams who are scoreless like this, if they can just get one, it kind of gets the ball rolling for the rest of the offense. And we hope that's the case tonight. Bruce, 3-2, chases up out of the zone. The one thing you didn't want to see if you're a Mustang fan. Makes this at-bat from Jane Little even bigger now with 2 outs.
We mentioned the slow bats of the Mustangs, but credit to Jordan Marlowe doing a good job of putting guys away in tough counts and getting ahead.
Taken for strike 1. Little struck out in his first at-bat. Swings to the fastball up. So now in a position where Marlowe again can kind of go anywhere he wants. And that's why he's been so effective tonight. Fastball up. He can go with the fastball again. Little was late. Or he can go to some sweeper as he just threw a fastball, up in the plate, adjusts his eyes. He goes with the fastball. Little still late, but not too late as he hits a foul ball down that first base line.
This is a huge at-bat for Little. You cut this to a 5-1 deficit, things feel a little bit more manageable than 5-0, and you're being shut out.
Well, things are going to stick 5-0 as the Mustangs waste a leadoff double from Dominic Felix. They get 0. They still trail it 5-0 as we head to the top of the 5th inning. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. New pitcher on the mound for the Mustangs, Andrew Clark. Clark out of Northwest Missouri State College. He's going to be going into his senior year. He started 9 games last year for Northwest Missouri State. Started a couple early on for this Mustangs team. Has since been moved to the bullpen. And that's where we see him now. So he has had 5 appearances on the year. 4 of them started. His last 2 and most recent 2 out of relief.
It's a good confidence builder for Clark, though, coming out of the pen. And he has a time for a low-leverage appearance. Although, goodness gracious, did you see that pitch?
Yeah. Clark just needs to kind of gather himself in here. Again, his last outing I wasn't here for, but it wasn't his best. Can you maybe tell me what we saw from him in that outing?
So kind of the flip side of Roy Holcomb, who only had the fastball working. Clark only really had his changeup working. And when he couldn't find ways to get ahead and use that devastating changeup to get strikes, he just fell behind guys and started walking a ton of guys. A lot of free passes for the other team, and they just were able to compound his mistakes and turn it into runs.
Leading things off here in the bottom of the top of the 5th inning, John Spoto. So far in the night, over 2 with a fly out to left and a strikeout. He's first pitch swinging. It's a hard ground ball down the line, but well foul.
That's a good sign for Clark, though. First pitch out of the pen is a fastball. He fouls it off pretty hard, but that gives you the confidence that now I can throw any pitch over the plate.
There's that beautiful changeup Tyler was just talking about. Clark's ahead 0-2 now.
And really at any level, changeups are much more of a show pitch and something to get a guy off balance, but it's not a pitcher's primary out pitch. And for Andrew Clark, it's such an outlier characteristic, as you can see it right there, another changeup. Such an outlier characteristic when you have something that looks so much like your fastball and then just dives out last second. It's not like a big, nasty breaking ball. It's just a very effective changeup you can throw at any count.
That changeup is definitely one of the better ones we've seen so far this year. And when you have a pitch that good, you should be able to dominate on the mound. But Clark, like you mentioned, at times loses his fastball just a bit, which is why he you can't become too reliant on any pitch, no matter how good it is. You have to be able to mix other things in.
Even if you want to the changeup like 70-80% of the time, then guys will start sitting on that changeup, and as good as it is, if you know it's coming, you're going to do damage.
That fastball hit extremely high. Going to be a tough play for anyone. It looks like it's Bruce coming storming in, making the play in left field. So a quick 2 outs for Clark. A good sign for him and this entire Mustangs team.
Bruce reminds me of like a Kyle Tucker type player. Wouldn't say he's the fastest guy out there by any means, but a guy who knows how to play the outfield position, just has a very high baseball IQ, makes good reads, and is also a good base runner. Not a burner, but find ways to get the job done.
In steps Justin Dameron. He's been catching tonight for this Mudcats team. You mentioned it already, but a guy who doesn't hit for the highest average, but finds ways on base. On base percentage almost into the 450 territory.
At the same time, he only hits singles, at least this season. Very interesting to only have singles. Means your exit velocity is just not there. At the same time, he's at the catcher position, so sometimes the bat can lag a little bit when you're a good catcher behind the plate. But I'd love to see a little bit more power from Dameron.
That's going to be a fluke single out there to right field as it lands just fair. Potentially a broken bat single as that one kind of, sounded like a cracked bat hit off the end of that black Rawlings bat. The Taco Bell hitter of the night steps in. Elian Guzman. He's yet to go down via the punch out. Singled and reached on a fielder's choice and then scored on that Guzman home run. This time it's going to be a ground ball to hold in that third base. Easy play for him. As we end the 5th inning, Mustangs still trail 5-0. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. Bottom of the 5th inning, you know what that means. It's trivia time here in St. Joseph. So, Tyler, my question for you today. The first time these two teams faced off was all the way back. It was the second game of the year for this Mustang squad. Who started that game for them?
You know what's funny? I actually think I know the answer to this. Just because you said it was the second game of the season. If you didn't say that, I think I would have been completely lost. The only guy I would eliminate off the bat, wow.
As Glick hits a foul ball into the Mudcats dugout, throws his bat. Kind of shaking the wrist a little bit, maybe banged those up. Sometimes when you do throw the bat or get jammed, your wrists kind of give. It's very painful.
But, yeah, you mentioned the second game of the season, so I'll come back to that. But I know it's not Roy Holcomb because you didn't mention that he faced the Mudcats before. And The reason why I know it's Diego de Santiago is I remember that game really clearly. We faced the Baldwin City Blues. Roy Holcomb was on the mound the first game, and then we saw Diego de Santiago in the second one. I don't know why that resonates so well with me, but I'm very confident in that answer.
That is correct. As De Santiago was the starter for the Mustangs in that first game of the year, which the Mustangs did win. Of course, as the Mudcats have still yet to beat the Mustangs on the year.
Well, there's 7 teams that could have beaten the Mustangs in the Mink League, and they're out of their 6 losses, they came from 2 teams. Excuse me, there are 5 losses that came from 2 teams.
In the game that De Santiago pitched in, the Mustangs won it 6-3, and that was just the start of.
If I'm also correct, I don't think De Santiago got the win either. I think he only worked like 4 innings.
In the Mustangs' 6-3 win on the second game of the year, De Santiago threw 4 innings, gave up 1 run. So yeah, wow, you remember that game very well. Maybe I should not have asked that question.
Well, I think it was the first time we really got the stream going correctly. The first game was a kind of a fixed camera angle, so I just remember that as the first one I told people about.
Truman Bodenhausen up now. Still just his second at-bat of the game as we're here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Never a good sign. The 3-1 count to Bodenhausen is fouled off.
Now for the Mudcats and Marlowe, last time he only worked 4 innings. This time, if he can work 6-7 innings and not allow your shaky bullpen to try to close this out for you, that's going to help your team out a ton. Remember last time, Kobe Linder blew a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 9th. There was that guy, Steven Escarceva, who worked pretty well. That's going to be an infield single.
Yeah. Infield single for Truman Bodenhausen. Some of that Mudcat look as Bodenhausen digs out the swinging bunt. Getting a guy on like that in that way for your top of the order can oftentimes be a really, really common, rally starter. And you'd love to see the Mustangs run with that right here.
Now, we just need something. Doesn't have to be an absolute bomb. Just kind of keep the line moving, and then you look for that big hit. But really in a game where you have 5 hits, you want to find ways on any way you can. Here's a fun fact. Out of the 5 hits for the Mustangs, 3 of them have come by someone with the last name Bodenhausen.
A lot of Bodenhausen hits tonight. The Bodenhausen bros doing their thing.
Even though they're not hitting back-to-back.
Now we need Carson Schmidt to do his thing. That one way outside. As a pitcher, you're up 5-0, so you really don't want to allow yourself to get too frustrated with, a doinker hit like that we just saw from Bodenhausen. That one missing down. So 2 fastballs, 2 balls.
I don't think Marlowe's that upset right now. But if he does end up walking Carson Schmidt, that's where the mistakes might compound, and then it might start to get to him.
3-0's the count. Schmidt, 1 for 2 on the day. He singled to second base in his first base. That was the play where Marlowe didn't get over to first base in time. Then he flew out to third base. 3-0's your count. Mustangs trail at 5-0. They just need some base runners here in the 5th inning. He takes strike 1. 3-1's your count.
I would definitely keep an eye on Jordan Marlowe's body language. He is pitching with a comfortable lead, but a walk here. Let's see how he reacts. Doesn't seem to be unbelievably frustrated. It's going to be a question if he has a defeated kind of attitude. All of a sudden, that's when the big innings can start for a offense, is when they notice the pitcher's a bit defeated out there, kind of in his own head. And that's where hits just start coming along. Guys in the batting lineup really get the confidence to go after their pitcher.
And that's a smart mound visit from Justin Damron right there for a lot of reasons. One, he's allowed 2 base runners in a game where he's kind of been cruising. So that reason alone, you should probably go talk to your pitcher. And then in steps is Noah Bodenhausen, who's 2 for 2 on the day with 2 singles. One, an infield single to Calcaño at short, and then one in the first inning, a single to right. Bodenhausen tried to check a swing, but it's a called strike nonetheless.
Big hole on the right side. Second baseman Peyton Becker keeping an eye for Truman Bodenhausen at second. And that's kind of Noah Bodenhausen's spot, is that 3-4 hole.
You'd love to see him go to it right now. That one's going to squirt away from Damron. Couldn't get the glove down in time. It went right through the 5 hole. And that's a big no-no as a catcher.
Now for the Mustangs, I wouldn't say a goal, like a necessity for you is to bring in these 2 runs. You only have 1 out. You got the 2, 3, and 4 guys up. Make this game 5-2 at least, and then try to win the last 4 innings by 3 runs. But these are 2 runs that have got to score. Noah Bodenhausen should at least try to hit a ball to second base, move your guy over to third, get the RBI. But really make this 5-0 deficit a little more manageable and not as scary.
Bodenhausen looking to do just that. He's going to foul the fastball back. Now 2 strikes on him. And as a hitter, with 1 out, runners in scoring position, you really just need to focus on putting the ball in play, as most of the time that'll be enough to bring in that run. Especially when you're down 5-0. This Mudcats team is perfectly okay with giving up 1 if they can get 1.
Yeah, they'll trade an out for a run here, for sure.
That one's going to be hit right to that hole. Thankfully, Becker had shifted over. So that's going to be the second out, but a run for the Mustangs, an even trade.
Yeah, just like we talked about, Bodenhausen, especially with 2 strikes, did a good job of getting his job done. Was it exactly what he was hoping for, like a double in the gap? No, but kept the line moving. Now you got a guy, Darius Freeman, who's going to be hungry for his first hit tonight.
Yeah, Freeman has not seen Marlowe, very well tonight. He's had 2 strikeouts, both on the same pitch in the same spot. There's a fastball in the outside corner.
And that changes things. Freeman's been behind in the count in protect mode all day. Marlowe getting ahead of him the first 2 times around. Now I expect Darius Freeman to be the aggressor here and try to take a big swing at something.
That's what he does. He just swung right through it. When you've had a day like Freeman, where you've over 2 with 2 strikeouts, but you're in a situation like this where you have Carson Schmidt at third base, it's one of those, if you get just 1 hit, you kind of just forget about the rest of your day. And that's going to hit Freeman. So instead of getting a hit, he gets hit, and he, not the guy you want to put on is Darius Freeman. I know 2 outs, but he'll be looking to steal. And in steps Dom Frelix, who in his last at-bat doubled out to left field to Jory Anderson out there off the wall.
Yeah, well, I expect Freeman to be going first pitch. Just make sure the pitcher commits to the plate. You can't make the out here, but you're not going to expect a throw from the catcher if Freeman has anywhere of a decent jump.
Felix got a hold of one last time, and again, leads the Mink League in home runs. And a home run here would go a long way in mounting this comeback for the Mustangs. They've done it before. They trailed big time in their last game versus the Mudcats, where they came all the way back and won it in walk-off fashion.
And they're on 6-4 going into that inning. And the first guy of the inning got out.
Marlowe falling behind. At what point, even with first base not open, would you give Dom Felix the bag and, deal, which was Mason Holton? It looks like he's been replaced by Carson Schrack tonight. So if that changes anything for you, you now have the Arkansas commit on deck.
Well, that's now the point where I'd put Dom Felix on. On the 2-0 pitch, I would have probably thrown it off speed, something that looked like a fastball, see if I can get a quick little rollover. But now 3-0 with Dom Felix at the plate, a guy who's one of the best hitters in the Mustangs lineup. There's no need to fool around and throw something he can hit.
And he's not going to. So Dom Felix gets walked on 4 pitches. Now it's going to be an entire team mound visit with Marlowe. as Schrack, yeah, he's going to be pinch hitting for Mason Holton. Actually, he replaced Holton defensively last inning. We just didn't notice it. But he's going to be hitting for him, too. And the bases loaded. All 3 runners have come via the free pass. 2 walks and a hit by pitch. And these are the opportunities where if you're going to come back, it's right here. Where you've been given free bases. You have one of your best hitters up. This is just an opportunity that the Mustangs really cannot afford to squander.
I want to go back and look at the stats for the last couple of games, but the Mustangs' offense has not been there. I think it's because of the poor hitting with runners in scoring position. Here's another situation now. You have 3 guys on, and if you don't convert any more runs here, that'll be something you look back on as a big deterrent of this game.
So not entirely sure what happened to Mason Holton. We saw him come out and grab his bat from the on-deck area. Not sure if he got banged up or what. You hope he's okay. But you have to move on, and Carson Schrack's the guy now.
Yeah, Carson Schrack not having the best year, but if he can come up in a situation like this, those are the type of at-bats where you start to get hot at the plate.
Schrack on the year hitting just .250. $19 RBIs, though. So the team leader in RBIs up to bat with the bases loaded.
And this is the spot Carson Schrack wants.
There really is no one better for the job than Schrack right here.
Some guys like the pressure, like to be up there in the heat of the moment. Schrack is one of those guys. Lefty-lefty against a good pitcher. Love to see what happens.
Schrack takes, and again, don't forget, 3 free passes this inning. So Marlowe, who's been in control all night, absolutely dicing these Mustangs. Not so much here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Now, if you're Schrack, you're looking for one pitch, and you can be so picky.
The 2-0 to Schrack is up. An opportunity where you almost have to give the take sign if you're head coach Johnny Coy, but you really, you want Schrack to swing it at the same time.
You want Schrack to swing it, but there's no point in him. It's been, 8 straight balls now? 7 straight balls?
Yeah, a lot of balls.
And plus, that's not a pitch right there you would want to swing at on 3-0. So
outside, caught the corner.
And still the same thing. He's got nowhere to put you. Look for one pitch, one spot. If he hits that spot again, you tip your cap, and then you battle on 3-2.
Marlowe kicks and deals. The count's 3-1 to Schrack, who hits it well, but well foul. So now he's got 2 strikes on him. Marlowe has come back from down 3-0, makes it 3-2.
Now, Charlie, you're a catcher. What would you go with right here?
I'm going with what he's thrown the most strikes with. When you're up 4 runs like this, you just don't want to give him a free one. You need to make sure this is in the zone. Runners take off. Schrack breaks his bat. It's going to be hit out to Calcaño, who makes the play. Let's see what the umpire calls. He's going to be out. Carson Schrack cannot believe it. As from here, it looked like Elian Guzman was about 3 inches off the bag. The throw from Calcaño pulled him off the base. Schrack had the best view on it. Unfortunate for him is that, only 2 umpires, so he's way across the field. It looks like they're going to appeal to the home plate umpire. We'll see if anything changes their mind.
Well, I've never seen players go out and talk to the umpire. There was multiple guys jumping out of that dugout. And Carson Schrack immediately distraught, and he had the best view of it.
And he's losing his mind over there at first base, rightfully so. With the position that the umpire was in, one, he needs to hustle over to first base to get a better angle on the call. You just can't sit on the left field side of the bag and make a bad call. That just can't happen. And the home plate umpire, when head coach Johnny Coy looked to appeal, he just didn't get any appeal. He's like, I didn't see it. I'm not sure what you want me to do. Just two really unfortunate mistakes for these umpires, and it's going to cost the Mustangs at least one, and who knows how many runs.
And Carson Strack still talking. He's got to be careful because he already replaced Mason Holton tonight. I know they have Jordan Black on the bench, but there's a lot. Not really. You want to burn two of your third basemen in really a span of an inning and a half.
Yeah, we're going to go to a quick break. Mustangs still trail at 5-1. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. Rafael Calcano leads us off. He's had a solid day, 1 for 2 with a double down the line, which brought in a run.
He also has been a great shortstop tonight. A couple big plays, although that last one was very questionable, and whether Julian Guzman kept his foot on the bag. But has played a nice shortstop tonight, showing he can do it all: play the outfield and play the infield. And the two hardest positions to play in the outfield and infield was center field and shortstop.
The 0-2 from Calcano is fouled off, so he stays alive.
Here comes the changeup. Almost guarantee it.
Righty changeup.
There it was.
It was the changeup, fouled straight back.
If you can now throw another changeup under the zone, you're going to get him swinging. He's in between timing right now. And see what he does.
That was a fastball on the outside part of the plate, but it gets Calcano swinging. So his second punch out of the night. A big start to the top of the 6th inning for Andrew Clark. Becker now up, the leadoff hitter for these Mudcats. He's been one of their leadoff hitters all year long. And when you lead your team with 30 hits, now 31, that tends to happen. Clark, the best I've seen him look all year tonight. Only allowed 1 base runner up to this point, 2 strikeouts, and he's faced 5 batters.
Now, he only tends to struggle when his location's off. If he's starting to put free guys on, he compounds mistakes. But when he's on, he's almost untouchable. I guess what I'm trying to say is his high and lows, there's a very big margin in between. There are some pitchers that may never have that ace, but also a reliable guy enough to where you trust him to get out of there with only a couple runs. Clark can implode at any point, but also can shut guys down for 4 or 5 innings at a time.
So 4-pitch walk to Peyton Becker. He continues to find ways on base for the Mudcats. And then steps Julio Guerrero, who in his last at-bat, no need to remind you what he did, the 3-run jack.
So Julio Guerrero, not only can he hit, but much like Darius Freeman, a prowess on the bases. He has 9 stolen bases and only 12 hits. So when he does get on, he likes to run. And we should also look at the stolen base leaders here in the Mink League. We mentioned the Chillicothe Mudcats have the most stolen bases with 171 in Mink League history. They broke the Mustangs record of 165. But I'll tell you right now, with the pace the Mustangs are on, that record could be beat again.
That pitch misses down, making it 1-1. But yeah, 126 stolen bases. And we're about just over halfway through the season. Got a couple weeks left. So, yeah, an opportunity if these Mustangs get running, they could take that record right back just a single year after the Mudcats got it to begin with. Well, the Mudcats also, again, liking to steal some bases. They're third in the Mink League at 113. And, Tyler, it's interesting how the top 3 teams all over 100, but after that, I mean, no one's stealing bases except for these top 3 teams.
Yeah, and I really don't know why, because a lot of these pitchers aren't working that fast to the plate. And the Mustangs, too, they have guys top to bottom. You can see 6 guys over 10 stolen bases. Noah Bodenhouse with 9. If you look at the Clarinda A's, for example, they have 120 stolen bases, but over 68 of them are from 3 guys, Tyler Macon, Kai Holiday, and Sean Bazemore. The Mustangs are a lot more spread out, so any guy has a chance to run.
Running there was Becker, but Guerrero hit a fly ball to Freeman out there in center field. So Guerrero, he goes down after his home run in his last at-bat. Becker has to go back to first. I feel like that tends to happen to a lot of hitters. The minute they come up after a home run, it's either a nice hefty fly out or a punch out where they're uppercutting through the ball.
Or another home run.
Or another home run.
Or a ground out. Or a strikeout. Or a catcher's interference. Or an error. Or a foolish choice.
Thank you for that. So now 2 outs for Andrew Clark. Trying to work through his second inning of work. So far only allowed 2 base runners. One was a single to right field from Justin Dameron. The other a walk to Peyton Becker, and that's who's on first right now. And standing is Drew Sanidad. And he's been the most well-rounded hitter in this Mudcats lineup all year. Leads the team in average at .370.
Also leads the team with stolen bases, 21.
Also leads the team in on-base percentage, .442.
And at bats. And
no.
No, he's not in at bats. You're right. That's Peyton Becker. Sorry, I was trying to one-up you, and I couldn't.
So Clark 1-2 right here. A chance to put Sanidad away and end the inning and leave Becker stranded at first base.
Do you know who is leading the team in at bats?
Well, it was Tanner Sears.
Yep, it was Tanner Sears. That's the big
that's a fly out to Darius Freeman. So back-to-back flyouts to Freeman out there in center field in the top of the 6th frame for Andrew Clark and the Mustangs. We're going to go to the bottom of the 6th, where the Mustangs still looking to get some runs back. This free broadcast of tonight's game is brought to you by Caleb Wells and HLC Insurance, located here in St. Joseph. HLC Insurance specializes in helping individuals, families, seniors, and small businesses with all things health coverage, including dental, vision, prescription drug coverage, and life insurance. To schedule a free consultation, call 816-273-4216. Again, that's 816-273-4216. or visit hlcinsurance.com today. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. I'm Charlie Marshall, joined alongside Tyler Bermundo. Right now, the Mustangs in a bit of a hole, down 5-1. And the news gets worse as now on the mound for the Mudcats, Carlos Escarcega. In his last outing versus the Mustangs, which featured a Mustangs comeback victory, but it was not on him, as he threw 3 innings, didn't give up a single run. Only had 1 strikeout, but he was absolutely carving through this Mustangs lineup.
It's going to be really a tale of 2 games for Steven Escarcega. The first game came out of the pen and walked 5 guys. And then this last relief appearance against the Mustangs, walked no one and got through 3 innings. In his 13 innings of work, he has 6 base on balls, but almost all of them came in that one game, so just didn't have it that day. I expect him to be around the zone tonight.
Leading things off is Easton Bruce. Bruce on the night, 0 for 2. A fly out to center and a strikeout.
Looks like there's some pitchers getting hot in the Chillicothe bullpen as 3 guys ran down right now.
3-0's the count. So Escarcega, again, not known for his walks, only has 6 all year in his 13 innings of work. Falling behind early to Easton Bruce. Strike 1 there.
Yeah, Escarcega doesn't throw particularly hard, but when he is on, can throw 3 pitches for strikes, a breaking ball, a changeup, and a fastball. And that's what makes him effective.
That one gets the top part of the zone, strike 2. So falls behind 3-0, works it back to full. Easton Bruce still yet to swing at a pitch here in this at-bat.
And when you're up 4 right now, you got to go after guys. There's no point in giving free passes.
Bruce swings and gets a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It was poked out to right field. John Spoto, the one getting the ball in, but Easton Bruce, he'll take his first knock of the ball game.
And that, to me, is a sign of a guy with a good swing. When you pull a fastball on the outside part of the plate, it's not ideal, but you're not going to have perfect timing every time. He does a great job of keeping his barrel in the zone longer, so he has more error to miss. And while he caught that more toward the end of the bat, he did a good job of staying on it and muscling it out to right center field.
Now Jaden Little, good piece of hitting right there. That's a barrel up the middle. So 2 leadoff singles off Escarcega. And the Mustangs are rolling here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And the biggest takeaway from Escarcega is he's around the zone, but sometimes maybe 2 around the zone. He's given up now 13 hits in over 13 innings, just over 13 innings. So about a hit an inning. And really the Mustangs, when he does throw in the zone, got to capitalize.
Jackson Glick, a hitter who to start the year came through in a lot of big moments, especially late in the game where they needed it most. Has cooled down a little bit in terms of just overall offensive production. The average dropping down under 230. That one's going to be hit sharply to right to Becker at second base, who throws it into left field. Looks a lot like last time the Mudcats came to town. That's going to be the second run of the game for the Mustangs on an error from Peyton Becker.
Charlie, what day is it? I'm getting deja vu right now. That was eerily similar to what happened in that walk-off. And another play that wasn't that difficult, but it's not like the shortstop even knocked down the throw. Calcano completely missed it. That's how far off it was.
Yeah, Becker got a little ahead of himself, threw into left field, and all of a sudden, 2 runners on, no outs, tying run at the plate in Truman Bodenhausen. Bodenhausen has 1 hit tonight. It was that swinging bunt single down the third base line. And his other at-bat, he grounded out to third.
We mentioned the stolen bases from the Mustangs, but Glick not atop of that leaderboard. Was not running great. Probably had a double play if Becker does make that play. Big swing.
That one will get just out of play. Bodenhausen stays alive. And Bodenhausen, not a guy, known for power. He's just not a very big guy to begin with. But still, when it comes to the bottom of this lineup, he is anchored down. And when he's in the 9-hole, this Mustangs team is better because of it.
Yeah, he's their second leadoff man. You get to the 9th spot, most teams you think it's an easier out. But for Truman, Bodenhausen finds ways on, and all of a sudden the table setters and the power guys are able to bring him in.
Bodenhausen stands 5'9", weighing just 150.
Two-one count. I'd love for him to take a good swing at this. Outfield's playing very shallow.
He takes. So 3-1. Now you can really take a hack at it.
I wouldn't go for the home run per se, but at least find a pitch you like and square it up.
It's going to be the North Central Community College player looking to do some damage. He swings and fouls it back. 3-2.
Now in a 3-2 count, the least you can do is get an RBI ground out, and if you're really feeling it, get it to the right side. Move Jackson Glick from second to third.
A big at-bat here from Bodenhausen, an even bigger pitch from Escarcega. The full count pitch misses up. Bodenhausen checks the swing, doesn't go. And they're loaded here at Phil Welch for Carson Schmidt.
Say, flash those stats, Charlie. This is probably one of the guys you'd want, and really hasn't played as much as some of the other guys in the team like Mose and Freeman, but in that small sample size has looked fantastic.
They're juiced for Schmidt. No one out. It's going to be a ground ball to Becker. He's going to try the flip again. He's able to do it this time. No double play. Schmidt beats it out. Run scores. 5-3 is the score. Glick advances to third. Schmidt on first. So at least a productive out for Carson Schmidt right here. And in steps the other Bodenhausen brother, Noah, who's been seeing the ball well tonight. 2 singles and his 2 for 3, his 4th at-bat right here.
And Carson Schmidt, he has 15 stolen bases, but in half the amount of plate appearances Darius Freeman. I'd expect him to be on the move, especially with a righty on the mound.
Escarcega trying to work out of some trouble. Keep this Mudcat lead. Right there, Schmidt took off for second base. And the Mudcats tried to run a play, but Glick wasn't even thinking about going home.
Ironically enough, that throw from the catcher, Dameron, that was going to be right on the bag. That could have been a very close play at second.
It would have been a close play at second indeed, but typically in a first and third situation, you've called the play beforehand. That might have been what happened there. They called the cut play, and Glick never was even going home.
The same time in college, I feel like you work on that enough to where you can let that ball go through if needed. Now, you don't want to compound the mistakes. All of a sudden, your second baseman cuts in front, blocks the view of the shortstop, and that ball squirts out to center field. But I legit think he had a shot at that.
Escarcega misses again. So now Bodenhausen up in the count 3-1, and it just doesn't get any easier for Escarcega as On deck is the Mustangs' best hitter, Darius Freeman.
And Freeman getting his first chance against a righty today, which that's who he hit his home run off against last week.
Yeah, Freeman not having his best day, but he just wasn't seeing Marlowe very well. Escarcega would be an entirely new situation for him.
Last time we saw Escarcega at home, Freeman with an RBI single, and then eventually came around to score. And it does help when you see guys in the Mink League a couple times, because it's a lot more rare than in college.
Ball 4 again. So we mentioned when he came in, he only had 6 walks on the year in his 13 innings of work. 5 of them came last time here at Phil Welch. He has 2 more today.
It's a tale of 2 games for Steven Escarcega. When he's on and attacking the zone, he can keep guys off balance. But when he starts allowing free passes, his fastball's hittable already, and when he has to go to it in almost any count, that's where guys will start teeing off of it.
I mean, how big of an at-bat is this right here for Darius Freeman and the Mustangs?
If you're Darius Freeman, if you come through here, your first 2 plate appearances don't even matter in your mind.
Freeman takes high. And I think this game has gotten to the point where if you're Freeman, you can almost tell yourself Escarcega's probably feeling it more on the mound than you are right now. He struggled to find the zone today. When he has, he's been hit hard. You're up 2-0 in the count now after the fastball misses off the plate.
And if you're Freeman now, this is your time to hunt fastball, hunt it where you want, and try to break this game open.
Hunt it where you want it. The 2-0 pitch to Freeman. It's going to be cracked right to second, but it's going to be gloved by Becker. A double play. Darius Freeman with the bases loaded. It's a sharp ground ball to Becker, and it's a double play. So Escarcega makes a big pitch. Becker makes a good play, and they get out of it with the lead. They lead it 5-3 as we head to the top of the 7th inning. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. Hunter Chillicothe leading things off for the Mudcats, who have all the momentum right now as that ball is going to be poked out to center field. Misread by Bodenhausen at second base. Potentially could have been caught, but instead it drops in shallow center.
I always mention first step back as an outfielder, which I don't necessarily agree with, but as an infielder, anything hit in front of you, you'll probably be able to make a play on a little line drive on a 1-hop. Truman Bodenhausen on that instinctively should go back, because if he did, he has a easy out right there.
Now attempting to bunt John Spoto. So far, the day has not been kind to him. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a fly out to the left. Again, trying to get the bunt down, and he gets it down. There's no one at second base, so Clark will throw to first and get the out.
I like the idea from Chillicothe when you got a team now that has rallied back against you, and granted has not done enough damage at the plate with the runners they've got on, but to try to maybe get the momentum back on your side, get a bunt, get a clutch hit, and all of a sudden try to deflate the other team by going up 6-3.
Stepping in now is left fielder Jory Anderson. Anderson's the guy that came in recently when Sears left. Not necessarily as a replacement, but the timing just kind of worked out like that. And he has not produced to the Tanner Sears level.
No, most definitely is not. Small sample size. Like I said, he hit 302 with a 386 on base as a freshman at John Wood Community College, which isn't bad, but all of a sudden being thrown into the Mink League like this, it's tough. Easton Bruce did the same thing, although he's having more success than Jory Anderson.
Andrew Clark has cruised through 2 innings so far. Now, the first time he's pitched with a runner in scoring position and taking off, but he's going to have to go back. That's Schrack over there making the play. Chillicothe took off for third, probably had it stolen, but no choice but to sprint all the way back to second base.
I think probably is the wrong word right there, Charlie. He had that base stolen. He was practically on third base by the time that ball crossed the plate. Completely read Andrew Clark, and you have to take that as a hitter. There's no need to swing at 1-0 as well. It's not like it was a 2-strike count. It was a 1-0 count. Draw the count back even 1-1 with a runner on third.
Yeah, and that's going to be grounded to Schrack. But as a hitter, as the throw gets away from Glick at first base, the third out of the inning, instead, now standing on third base is Justin Dameron after the error from Glick. Just couldn't bring that one in.
Thing I saw there is he did his stride too early at first base, hit his stretch too early, excuse me. And all of a sudden that ball was thrown offline a bit. If you're able to use the entire bag and wait to stretch, you'll make that play. But the minute you stretch early and commit, you're going to have to start reaching for balls. But that's a pretty routine play right there.
So now Clark thought he had worked himself out of a bit of a jam. And when the Mustangs just scored 2 runs, you really don't want to give any up. You want to try and do your best to keep that momentum, as they've scored the last 3 runs in this ball game.
You get a Clark who's in his 3rd inning of Oregon, is pitching well. You get him out of that dugout without really any stress. You send him out there for a 4th inning.
Pitch hitting now for Elian Guzman is Sammy Cruz. Cruz started the last game these 2 teams played.
That's shortstop, I believe.
He's out of Bloomfield College. He didn't play a lot, only had 47 plate appearances while in college. In terms of his production in his last game, he had 2 strikeouts, a ground out to third base, and a fly out to right. So, and then he was pinch hit for as well. So, interesting to see him coming in here in such a big spot in the 7th inning.
Big thing with him is in 62 at bats, is K'd 21 times.
And now he's down 0-2. Andrew Clark with the stuff to put him away.
If Clark can strike him out here, that's going to give you some momentum, even with the error.
Schulte at third, Dameron at first. 0-2, 2 outs, and it is the punch out. So Clark battles through the air, punching out pinch hitter Sammy Cruz. And now the Mustangs are rolling a bit as we head to this bottom of the 7th inning. Welcome back. Charlie Marshall alongside Tyler Bermundo here at Phil Welch Stadium, where the rain has avoided us tonight, thankfully. Been able to get some baseball in. Gonna look at Phil Welch in all its glory. Some Sweet Caroline going on here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Sweet Caroline, a staple, not only here in St. Joe, but a lot of teams like to play the Sweet Caroline song right after. As you mentioned, Charlie, rain is not due until like 2 a.m. this morning, so hopefully we're going to avoid it. And it's supposed to be clear skies tomorrow around game time, so we have not postponed a game yet, and I hope we don't start.
In steps Dom Felix.
He hit the double to left field his last at bat and didn't get all of it for sure. He short hopped the track. Tough play out there from the left fielder Anderson, and some fireworks going off. I hope they're fireworks.
A lot of fireworks going off here in St. Joe. I mean, if this is July 3rd, I can only imagine July 4th.
You were to tell me a year ago I'd be spending my 4th of July in St. Joe, I would have thought you were crazy, but now that I am, I'm super excited.
Felix in position where he is just trying to get on base, but he's not going to do that as he hits a high fly ball to Calcaño, who makes an error and drops it. Calcaño camped under it, usually a center fielder. Had some trouble with it in the lights maybe, and just, never looked comfortable in that fly ball. And it pops right out of his glove. Just a little league mistake there for the Mudcats shortstop.
Charlie, I don't know if I ever believed in the announcer jinx when watching games on TV, but I definitely believe it now. And the amount of stuff that has happened this year, Rafael Calcaño, I thought was a surefire guy to make plays, especially routine plays like that, and all of a sudden the Mustangs had the leadoff guy on in unorthodox fashion.
And similar to the last game where the Mustangs walked off the Mudcats, it just kind of feels like the Mudcats just don't want to win this game in a weird way.
That's a great way to put it.
I mean, the Mustangs have given them a 5-0 lead. They have a 3-run home run. They have an unearned run. And just the Mudcats continue to make simple mistakes. I mean, last inning we saw Peyton Becker throw the ball into left field on a surefire double play. Now it's an error for, what we would consider their best fielder on a even more routine play.
It's like they don't want to put him away either. They haven't put him away. They're just letting the Mustangs hang around.
So now it's Schrack, who hits pretty well, but out there to center field. Drew Sanidad has no issues with it out there. So Schrack, who came in to pinch hit in his last at-bat, flies out. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Ground out and a fly out. And then steps Easton Bruce.
Like I was saying, you don't let the team that's first place in the Mink League hang around. That's one of those times where if you get out to a lead like that, you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal because things can happen. Really, that's been the story for the Mustangs all year. Even in their losses, they find ways to make them close. The biggest loss they had was 11-3 against Chillicothe, but even then they were down 5-0 at one point. Brought it back to 5-3. Looked like they had momentum and then had a bad inning. But the Mustangs make every game close.
That one hit well out there to right field, but straight into the sky. And we've seen that a lot tonight. A lot of high fly balls from this Mustangs lineup, just getting way under Escarcega and Marlowe.
And Bruce, he knew it off the bat, too, that he just missed that. He got pretty good wood on it. But much like Mason Holton, the same thing. You mentioned guys popping up. Balls where it feels like they squared them up, but just too much launch angle.
Yeah, again, this Mustangs team able to win close games. Like you mentioned, they've only had one bad loss or blowout loss all year, and that was versus the Clarinda A's. And that was last week, and they never really got it together in that one. But tonight, just the game is well within reach.
Yeah, and the Mudcats are letting you hang around. You got to take advantage.
Just
poor hitting with guys in scoring position as well.
And they haven't came through when it mattered most tonight, like they've done all year. Jaden Little batting now, who hit a line drive to center field in his last at-bat. Prior to that, he had 2 punch-outs. So an up-and-down day for him.
Love the 3rd of July fireworks going on in left center field.
3-0 count right down the middle. So it's 3-1. We'll do it here.
Mentioned earlier, but this pitch has got to be perfect. There's no point in taking a hack on a 3-1 pitch that's not your pitch. You still got to come to you.
And he doesn't. So the 3-1 pitch just misses. And that puts Jane Little on for free. So now Glick comes up with a chance to give the Mustangs the lead. If he could send one over that short porch out there in right field.
Yeah, Glick hasn't showed it here on the Mustangs, but at Pima, or he's going to Pima Community College, but in high school definitely showcased his power, and now would be an excellent time for it.
And we've seen him drive the ball well to the outfield, just nothing got over the wall quite yet. That one flared. It's going to get out of play, thankfully. So he's down 0-1, but I think he'll take that over what could have been.
He also loves the left center field gap, and right now the left fielder, Anderson, playing pretty far over to the left, and the center fielder, Sanded, playing straight up in the center. So he's got some space to work with there. Catcher set up outside.
And he's looking for that left center gap. Instead, it's a flare out there behind shortstop, and it's going to get down. The ball drops, and it's going to be a run for the Mustangs. Dom Felix coming in to score on a drop fly ball, the second of the inning. This time it's Jory Anderson not able to bring in the fly ball out there in left field.
That'll go down as a hit in the scorebook. That ball was up there a long time, and the Mudcats, you normally need 27 outs to win a game, and feels like now they need to get 32, 33.
Jaden Little advances the third on the base hit from Glick. That will be a base hit. So Glick comes through again when it matters the most. This time a little different than others. And now the Mustangs just 1 run away from tying this game up and completing the 5-run comeback.
Yeah, the Mustangs, even in their win streak, were playing from behind a little bit too. And the couple losses they had, they lost to the Carroll Merchants. The Carroll Merchants 15-11. We're down 9-1
from Bodenhausen. Some more miscommunication for the Mudcats, but it is going to be reeled in. This time, John Spoto not playing any games. But the Mustangs get a run when they probably shouldn't have, and they make it 5-4 as we head to this 8th inning. It is a close one here at Phil Welch.
This free broadcast of tonight's game is brought to you by Caleb Wells and HLC Insurance, located here in St. Joseph. HLC Insurance specializes in helping individuals, families, seniors, and small businesses with all things health coverage, including dental vision, prescription drug coverage, and life insurance. To schedule a free consultation, call 816-273-4216 or visit hlcinsurance.com today. That's 816-273-4216 or visit hlcinsurance.com today.
Welcome back here to St. Joseph, Missouri, and the friendly confines of Phil Welch Stadium. The Mustangs have marched their way back into this one. They were once down 5-0, have scored 4 unanswered, making it a 5-4 ball game. I'm Charlie Marshall alongside my partner Tyler Bermundo, and it's been a fun one here tonight, Tyler.
It has been, and really, the Mudcats should have this game in hand the way they looked offensively, and their pitching has been pretty solid, just giving away free outs. On the flip side, the Mustangs aren't capitalizing like crazy, and it's really going to be a matter of, can the Mustangs come up clutch?
So, new pitcher on the mound for the Mustangs. Jaron Guck gets Rafael Calcaño with a 2-pitch fly out to Bodenhausen. He's showing that Mudcats dugout how to catch a fly ball. But Guck on the year, or at least in his college year, he was pretty solid. He went to Truman State. He was a junior. Finished here with 5 saves and a whip under 1.5. And he held opponents to just a .206 batting average. So he's been really solid, or he was really solid for his college. And so far in the year for the Mustangs, he's thrown in 11 innings, has 3 saves, got 3 wins, 3 earned runs, 17 strikeouts with a 2.45 ERA. So he's been effective for both Truman State and now the Mustangs so far this year.
Between him and Jace Johnson, those are your 2 high-leverage guys. And Guck typically comes in even later in the games, either in a close situation or a game where you want to keep the deficit or the tie at the same and let your offense win it late.
Attendance tonight looking at about 3,300 for the Mustangs, so a good amount for a Wednesday night. Kind of has these Friday night vibes, as a lot of these people don't have to go into work tomorrow, with it being the 4th of July. Decided to come out, spend a late afternoon, late night here at Phil Welch.
But I have to go to work tomorrow, Charlie.
We will be here bringing you some Mustangs baseball, of course. In terms of last game, as that's strike 3 for Jaron Guck. He gets strikeout number 18 on the year, so he continues to dominate. 2,200 fans were in attendance for the last time the Mustangs took on the Mudcats. So a bigger attendance pool tonight by about 1,100.
And 4th of July tomorrow, I expect similar numbers. Mustangs on a good night will be over that 3,000 mark, which is so impressive for a college summer team, especially in St. Joseph, Missouri.
Yeah, the stadium's packed here tonight. Not too many open seats as they root on these Mustangs who attempt to mount a 5-0 comeback. They've almost done it, needing just one more run. They got 6 outs to work with. It's going to be an interesting finish, to say the least.
Yeah, Guck had one bad outing, but besides that, it's just been a shut down reliever. Good breaking ball and a plus fastball to go along with it.
Yeah, Guck, the interesting thing about him is he's only thrown 11 innings. So he's a little behind some of his other teammates in terms of the inning department. But when you look at his ERA at a 2.45 or his K per 9 being a 13.9, he's not behind in the talent pool. Let's just say that.
It's worth mentioning those 3 runs all came in one game, in that extra inning game against Chillicothe, that 50-11 loss where the Mustangs overcame a 9-1 deficit
Versus Carroll.
Carroll.
Yeah.
Carroll.
Yeah, again, the only 2 teams the Mustangs have lost to all year in the Mink League, out of the Mink League, doesn't matter. It's been the Clarinda A's, who they've now lost to twice after last night's loss, and then against Carroll, who they've dropped 3 games to this year.
And Carroll not in the top of the Mink League by any means.
The 3-2 pitch is hit out to Glick, who has no troubles with this one. He beats Guzman over to the bag, and that'll end it here in the top of the 8th inning. Mustangs looking to come back, then he just won. We'll see if they can do it when we return. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. As we welcome you back, it's the bottom of the 8th inning. Mustangs down 1. New pitcher on the mound for the Mudcats. It's Kobe Linder. A familiar face for you guys and this Mustangs team. He's now pitched in all 3 games the Mudcats have played here at Phil Welch, and he's really yet to have a good outing here. His first outing was as a starter, as that's a bunt attempt there from Carson Schmidt. He's trying to get a leadoff bunt down. Goes foul, but Linder's first outing was 5 2/3, where he gave up 5 runs and walked 5. And then his second outing came when he decided to give up a walk-off to the Mustangs. In that game, he did not pitch well either. He didn't even get out of 1 inning of work. That fly ball will be caught, though, by the Mudcats center fielder, Sanidad, out there in center field. All the Mudcats fans can take a deep breath.
Yeah, I'm sure they held their breath in that ball that went up in the air. Feels like almost anything hit or anything skied in the outfield or deep in the infield is trouble tonight.
In steps Noah Bodenhausen, who's had a quality at-bat in every at-bat so far tonight. 2 singles, a walk, and then a ground out. But he's locked in tonight at the plate.
Remember, someone needs to start a rally.
That's going to be another single. This one coming in the infield, but that'll do the job. Noah Bodenhausen with his 3rd base hit of the game, just out of reach of Hunter Schulte.
And even if Schulte either makes that play, I don't think he gets him at first, and if he lets that go, there's no way Calcano gets him at first. So, no pictures on the scorecard. That's what I say in golf.
So in steps Darius Freeman, who has not had a Darius Freeman kind of night. 0 for 3, 2 punch-outs and a double play where he came up with the bases loaded. Hit the ball hard right to Peyton Becker at second, but just right at him, What can you do about it?
It must have been hit hard if Darius Freeman is getting doubled up.
Fireworks in the middle of, an at-bat, in the middle of a pitch is something that you don't see too often.
Seems very Savannah Bananas-like.
Of course, these Mustangs aren't being shot off these fireworks aren't being shot off by the Mustangs, but the surrounding community is letting those fireworks eat.
And we mentioned it's July 3rd. What is July 4th going to look like?
And you guys can't see it, but we can kind of see the smoke out there in the lights just kind of hanging around, as enough fireworks have been sent off tonight to give a little fog. Back to the game, Freeman and a 2-2 count.
We're just missing the late game fireworks from the Mustangs offense, and that would be a great way to end this night.
Linder comes set. The 2-2's way outside. And a pitch like that on a 2-2 count is just not what you want as a pitcher, because what do you go to now after missing so badly on the 2-2 pitch?
Yeah, and you didn't even attempt to offer it that one. Now you got to throw him something in the zone. You probably got the runner on first going as well.
Runner not going. Freeman put a barrel on that one, hit a charge out to right center field, and it's going to be off the glove of John Spoto in right field. The Mudcats just cannot catch a fly ball tonight, and in comes Bodenhausen to take the lead. Noah Bodenhausen, Darius Freeman, tie game.
Well, Freeman certainly didn't get all of it, but he got enough of it. And that was probably the less of routine plays tonight that could have been made by the Chillicothe Mudcats. But Darius Freeman ties up this ball game late, and the Mudcats simply cannot put these Mustangs away.
That's just been the story all year for the Mudcats when it comes to playing the Mustangs. They just cannot finish them off. They've been ahead in almost every game, and they just let the Mustangs creep back in, and they make mistakes like we've seen tonight, and the Mustangs, like they have all year, capitalize on those mistakes, and that's why they're 26-5, and the Mudcats are 10-16.
Now you look at face value, and even the first 5-6 in this ball game, they look very evenly matched, but the Mudcats just not making plays when they need to, and the Mustangs, albeit have a lot of guys in scoring position tonight, are doing enough to hang around and all of a sudden now have a higher chance to win this ball game.
So Darius Freeman gets a triple as the ball bounced off the glove of John Spoto. Would you call that a triple or an error? I mean, he had to go a long way, but it was catchable.
It's one of those that I would give an error, but Freeman did get a good piece of that. It wasn't like it was a routine play like some of the other ones that have been
If that ball
dropped.
was pulled, I think it leaves the yard. Instead, he hit it to one of the deeper parts of the area, that right center. And now Dominic Felix steps in. And again, he hasn't had his best night. He does have a double. But besides that, he's 0 for 2. So he's 1 for 3 on the night. The double was off the base of the wall in left field. Darius Freeman on third. It's not going to take a lot to bring him in. The Mudcats infield comes in here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Unlike earlier in the game, they cannot afford to give up a run now.
And Felix in a 2-0 count. Just looking for hard contact here, nothing more.
That one right over the middle, maybe a little up as Felix didn't like it.
Something to note, everyone's on the grass except for Rafael Calcano. That's short. I know he's got a cannon, but Freeman's got wheels.
Felix up the middle, and that'll do the job. Darius Freeman comes in. Dom Felix coming through when it matters most.
For the first time all night, the Mustangs have their first lead of the ball game, and all of a sudden now for the Mudcats, it really feels like they have no chance of coming back. If you take away the first 4 innings, it's 6-0 Mustangs the last 5. Excuse me, the last 4.
Linder, a lot like his last outing when he came in relief versus the Mustangs, just falling apart on the mound, letting down the Mudcats.
You remember correctly, too, in both this game and the one previously he pitched here at Phil Welch, he got the first out of the inning, no problem.
Tonight, I would definitely say different than his first outing. He's really only given up 1 true hit tonight. He hasn't looked bad. His pitches have been executed pretty well. He's fallen behind a little bit, right? We're seeing right now it's 2-0, and that's been his main problem tonight. But, again, he hasn't pitched too poorly tonight.
And he's really hoping for Spoto to help him out in right field. It wasn't an easy play, but definitely something you'd want him to grab.
If that ball gets caught, like it should have, that one's going to be hit well out there to left field. It's running, but a nice play out there from Anderson. That'll retire Carson Schrack.
Yeah, he made the play. I don't know if it was necessary for him to leave his feet, but really, you making the play in the outfield, that's a win for the Mudcats tonight with how their defense has been.
Yeah, the pitching has been really good, in my opinion, for the Mudcats tonight. Marlowe absolutely dealt for 5 innings, giving up just 1. And Escarcega came in, and he didn't look bad, but his defense just didn't help him out in some costly errors, and he kind of put himself in a position where he had to execute his pitches really well. And then Linder, again, I think he's looked pretty solid tonight. I don't know about you.
Well, he gets out of this inning if that play's made in right field. Which is an interesting thing to note. There's only 2 errors on their scorecard on the Jumbotron. I don't agree with that at all. I feel like there's been way more.
A lot of these plays have been kind of wishy-washy. You could have gone either way, but at the end of the day, they're plays that I think we can both agree should have been made, and they just weren't. Clips the outside corner. Easton Bruce doesn't like it one bit, but he's going to have to live with it. It's 2-2, 2 outs. Dom Felix on first. Bruce hits it well, but foul. That was off the glove of Sammy Cruz over there at first base. Again, he came in for Elian Guzman earlier in the game, about the 6th inning. Looks like we had a ball on the field. Linder discharges it. Bruce trying to keep this bottom of the 8th inning going for the Mustangs. Shoots one foul. Count remains 2-2.
Keep fighting, Easton Bruce. Keep fighting. Force him to make a mistake, and then you do damage. See if we can get another insurance run. I'd imagine Jared Guck would be going out for a 2nd inning of work.
That one missing in, so now we're full. And on deck's Jane Little.
Don Felix will get ahead to start.
Yeah, Don Felix will be running with 2 outs. Little has reached base in his last 2 at-bats. We're going to see if we get to him right here. The 3-2 pitch to Bruce. Swung on, hit, bobbled at first base, but no problem for Cruz. He takes the hop off his chest, steps on the bag, and that'll do it here. But not before the Mustangs can get 2 more runs and take the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. They lead it 6-5. We're going to see if Jaron Gutt can close it out when we come back. Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium. Should I say the 4th of July themed Phil Welch Stadium. It's been a good one here tonight, Tyler. If you're just joining us, you've missed a lot. Mustangs fell behind 5-0 early on and then scored 6 unanswered, as well as 2 last inning, thanks to a Darius Freeman triple and a Dom Felix single. And that's how we got to where we are. Jaron Gutt on the mound, needing 3 outs to end this thing in just 8 1/3, or 8.5 innings.
I think the simplest way to put this is if the Mustangs do hang on, this is less of a Mustangs win as it is a Mudcats loss.
The Mudcats, we've talked about it earlier, just they haven't been able to put away the Mustangs in either of their 3 games here at Phil Welch. The last 2 they've led late. Felix wanted strike 3, doesn't get it. Sanidad will hang in there.
And they haven't battled at the plate since they put up 5 runs in the first 4 innings, but they haven't battled since then. And defensively have really messed up a lot of plays. Only 2 errors, but really with a different scorekeeper, there could be 5.
Yeah, it could have gone either way. A lot of questionable plays defensively for the Mudcats. And at this level of baseball, you just can't allow defense to be that heavy of a factor in any game. At least in terms of negatively impacting your team. You should make the routine plays and really only positively impact your team with, spectacular plays. Whereas tonight, it just has not been the case. A lot of fielding mishaps, and that's why the Mustangs are out front right now.
And the errors made, it's not like they're ground balls that typically happen. They're balls that have been in the air.
So that ball outside makes it full. 3-2. And this is a big pitch. You do not want to let that tying run on to start the inning. And that's what's going to happen. Drew Sanidad takes close, and so the center fielder on base here to start the top of the 9th.
You mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Drew Sanidad also the stolen base leader. And as he's the tying run, if he gets a good jump, good chance he ends up at second.
Yeah, Sanidad has 21 stolen bases. He also leads the team in average and on base percentage, so probably the perfect guy to start this 9th inning.
We also mentioned, though, Missing the bats of Carlos Negron and Tanner Sears, two guys who were staples in
A
this
pickoff
lineup.
attempt over there at first base, not in time.
Both those guys hit over 300 with over 15 bombs at Central Methodist College. And
that one hit well right to Schrack, who has a chance to back pick him. But he can't. The throw got away from Schrack. Glickman, a nice play to keep it in front of him.
good play by Schrack, and really good play by Jackson Glick to keep the guy at first at bay. I like the idea from Schrack, but it got away from him, and Glick did a great job. He also went to go body that. He didn't catch it in the glove, but he would have knocked that one down regardless.
They don't call it the hot corner for no reason. Let's just say that. Runner goes. The throw from Felix is on the money, and he's safe. Oh, the throw beat him there. It looked like Schmidt got the tag down. I mean, it's hard to tell from up here, so I'm not going to say anything on that, but Drew Sanidad picks up stolen base number 22.
Definitely a close play. Felix got it out quick. The one thing you have to give credit for Sanidad, outer safe, is he did have a fantastic slide, caught the far side of the bag and tucked his front foot in there.
Yeah, and with the umpire that close, typically those guys get those correct. So, Sanidad just kind of finding a way to get in there. Obviously, the Mustangs fans here aren't going to like it one bit, but that's the way it is. This one fouled back. So now it's John Spoto trying to make up for his fielding mishap in the last inning.
It wasn't ruled an error, but I think it very well could have been.
And he's not going to do it as Duck blows one by him for out number 2. And now Jory Anderson is up, and he's the last hope. And let me tell you something. If you're the away team at Phil Welch, it is just never a good time to hear these bells.
And this is the place where people who are in college baseball probably have more viewers here than at their college. I mean, Phil Welch pulling 3,500 people here tonight. That's a crowd not many of these guys are used to playing for.
Guck getting ahead 0-1. Anderson again, a new replacement for the absent Tanner Sears. Some kind of situation to come into. This is only his 3rd game on the year. One's fouled back. Guck needs just one more. Why not let that fastball eat one more time, Jaron Guck?
I'm with you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Elevate it and send these fans home happy. If you're Jaron Guck, of course, not the batter.
Guck comes set. The 1-2 pitch. In there for strike 3. Jaron Guck comes through. The Mustangs get the win. Guck gets the save. What a comeback victory for these Mustangs. That pitch came in on that outer half. It was a late call from the umpire. I didn't see a big punch out like you would expect in this kind of situation.
I saw Dom Felix turn to the umpire. I was like, there's no way he didn't just ring him up right now. That would have been unbelievably embarrassing.
I was confused because there was no, and now there's some chatter as the Mustangs and Mudcats, maybe not the most friendliest of foes, but nonetheless, what a comeback win for these Mustangs. I mean, down 5-0, and they come all the way back, win it 6-5. We'll have more for you when we come back on the postgame show. But wow, what a day, what a win for these Mustangs.
Oh.
We appreciate you guys spending your July 3rd with us. How about one more round of applause for all of our military veterans and active service members tonight?
Welcome back to Phil Welch Stadium, where quite the scene right now as we're about to get some fireworks because it's July 3rd. Why not? You know what I mean? But, I mean, the game had enough fireworks in itself. 6-5 victory for the Mustangs. One-of-a-kind comeback win for the Mustangs. What did you see tonight? How are they able to pull this one off?
Well, you got to give credit to the Mustangs because this was not a game where they look great. Really, start to finish, left some guys on, didn't pitch fantastic. Rough start for Roy Holcomb, which is not what we're accustomed to seeing. But they did enough to capitalize on the Chillicothe Mudcats 6. That's the other thing, is Chillicothe looked like they had this game in the bag, but just error after error. Bats went silent, and the Mustangs did just enough to battle back and win this one 6-5.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of just the tale of the game, and that's been the tale of the last couple games. The Mudcats just can't put these Mustangs away, and the Mustangs stay undefeated against every team except for the A's and the Merchants. For what it's worth, Clarinda did win tonight. They beat the Sedalia Bombers, so even bigger now that the Mustangs are able to come back, or that Mink division lead would have shrank to just 2. So the Mustangs keep it at 3 games, and that's important, as we kind of now are going to have to pay more attention to this playoff picture and who's going to get that 1 seed in the Mink League. But overall, I think one thing we haven't talked about enough is how good the bullpen was tonight. How dominant were they in relief?
Well, I mean, Andrew Clark came in through 3 innings, and after his rough start last time, bounced back and really shut this down. And we keep talking about the errors and the Mudcats giving this game away, but the bullpen kept them in this game. It was 5-0 in the first 4 innings, but 5 shutout innings from Jaron Guck and Andrew Clark, and that gave the confidence for the Mustangs to come back and end up getting some momentum and pulling this one out.
And even if the Mudcats make all these mistakes, if the bullpen doesn't shut down the lineup like they did, it doesn't matter. So it's even bigger now how well this bullpen pitched today. Andrew Clark, Jaron Guck, and who am I forgetting? Who else?
No, that was just those 2.
Just the 2 of them, yeah. So it's just 2 guys coming in, shutting the door, and it was huge tonight. Mustangs win it 6-5. We'll be back here. We'll be here all week long. Tomorrow night, the Mustangs, another game where they kind of got to find a way to win. They face the Sedalia Bombers, so just they're at the point in the season where they really can't afford to lose. So 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 4th of July, nowhere better to be than Phil Welch. We'll be here. Fireworks will be here. The Mustangs will be here. You should too. If you can, don't forget to tune in on Phil Welch. Of course, the game will be streamed right here. That's it. Saying farewell from Phil Welch, Charlie Marshall, Tyler Bermundo. See you guys tomorrow.